Ever wish you could make your pricing like super agile? Like ditch those static price lists and make every quote like a masterpiece.
Yeah, like Amazon.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's where this whole Salesforce CPQ price rules thing comes in.
definitely.
And that's exactly what we're going to dig into in this deep dive. We've got a whole bunch of study guides and training materials.
Oh, cool.
It'll be like your cheat sheet to mastering CPQ.
It's all about automation and flexibility. Giving you the power to react to like market changes or customer needs.
Oh, even competitor moves.
Right, all while keeping your pricing accurate and consistent.
Okay, so let's break this down. For someone just starting out with these CPQ price rules, where do we even begin?
Well, think of price rules like instructions for your CPQ system. It's basically like saying, hey, CPQ, if this happens...
Then do that to the price.
Exactly. You got it. It takes out like all the manual work of calculating prices.
And to make sure your whole sales team is on the same page.
Yeah, singing from the same song sheet.
Okay, so it's all about setting up those IFN statements. But how do you tell CPQ where to apply these rules?
Good question.
I'm seeing something here about evaluation scope.
Right, evaluation scope, that's key. It determines if the rule applies directly to a line item on a quote.
Or if it like kicks in when you're putting together a bundle of products.
Yeah. So let's say you want to give a discount on a specific product.
That'd be a line item situation, right?
Right. You'd use calculator scope. But if you want to change the pricing based on what options a customer picks in a bundle...
That's when you'd use configurator scope.
You got it.
So it's like setting a rule for a single ingredient versus a whole recipe.
Perfect analogy.
So within each price rule, there are two main parts: price conditions and price actions. I'm guessing price conditions are our IF statements.
Exactly. You're defining the criteria that have to be met for the rule to trigger. So you could say, if the customer is in a certain industry...
Or if the quantity ordered is over 100.
Right.
Okay, so the price condition is the trigger. And then the price action is what actually happens to the price.
That's it. Price action is your then. It tells CPQ what to do when the condition is met.
So you could say, then apply a 10% discount.
Or then adjust the price using a formula.
Got it. But what if you need to include information that's not directly on the quote?
Like
what if you want to adjust pricing based on what your competitor is charging?
Ah, I see what you mean.
Or some other external factor?
That's where lookup objects and lookup queries are super useful.
Okay.
They let you pull in data from other places, even outside Salesforce.
To use in your pricing logic.
Exactly. Imagine you're selling software and you want to change your price based on how many user licenses a customer already has.
Oh, that's a good example.
You can use a lookup query to grab that info from your customer records.
And then use it in your price rule.
Exactly.
That's pretty powerful.
It is.
And there's this summary variables thing.
Oh, yeah, those are cool.
What are those all about?
It's a way to like add up numerical data to make even more complex price conditions. Let's say you sell different types of software licenses.
Okay.
And you want to give a volume discount based on the total number of licenses they buy across different products.
I see.
A summary variable can add up all those licenses, so your discount rule can work based on that total quantity.
That makes sense.
So you're not limited to looking at just individual line items. You can look at the whole quote.
Exactly. The bigger picture.
That's awesome. But I'm guessing with all this power, it'd be pretty easy to mess things up if you're not careful.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Any common pitfalls to watch out for?
Well, one mistake is forgetting about those lookup queries and how they work.
Okay.
If your query accidentally pulls in too much data,
instead of just one piece of information.
Right. It can throw off your calculations and cause errors.
It's all about being super precise with how you get that data.
Exactly.
Okay. Anything else that tends to trip people up?
Formula fields can be tricky too, especially if they rely on other fields that are also being calculated.
Oh, I see.
You might have to hit that calculate button a few times to make sure everything updates properly.
It's like a chain reaction.
Kinda.
So always double check your formulas.
And make sure they're referencing the right stuff.
Okay, so gotta be mindful of those little details.
For sure.
But this whole system is amazingly flexible.
It is.
It's like a Swiss Army knife for pricing.
I like that analogy.
So now that we've got the basics of price rules down, I think we should move on to some specific pricing strategies.
Sounds good to me.
See how these rules can be used to create all sorts of interesting scenarios.
Yeah, let's get into it. So let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
Let's move from like the nuts and bolts
Uh-huh.
to the real world, how we actually use these price rules.
Yeah, show me how this stuff works in practice.
You'll see how they can create those common pricing models you probably see all the time.
Like volume discounts.
Hmm.
or special pricing for certain types of customer.
Exactly. Let's start with a classic, block pricing.
Okay, block price. This is where you set different price tiers based on the quantity.
The classic buy more, save more.
That's it. And CPQ automates it, makes it super easy.
So instead of having one price for a product,
Yeah,
you can set it up so the price per unit goes down as the customer orders more.
exactly. You define the quantity ranges.
Your blocks.
Right, and set a specific price for each one. CPQ does all the calculations in the background.
So you don't have to adjust prices manually.
You got it.
What's the advantage of using block pricing?
Besides saving your sales team a ton of time,
Well, yeah, besides that.
well, for one, it encourages customers to order more.
Makes sense.
Everyone loves a good deal, right?
Of course.
Plus, it helps you stay competitive, especially against those bigger companies that offer bulk discounts.
That's a good point.
So, block pricing is all about quantity.
What about pricing something as a percentage of the total value of the whole quote?
Oh, you mean like percent of total pricing?
Yeah, that's the one.
POT pricing, it's super useful for things like shipping insurance.
Or like service fees, those things that are tied to the total value of the order.
Exactly. Instead of setting a fixed price, you use a percentage, and CPQ does the math for you.
Okay, so if I'm selling a piece of equipment for, say, $10,000,
Okay.
and I want to charge a 2% service fee,
Mm-hmm.
CPQ would calculate that as $200.
Exactly.
You could even pick which quote lines are used in the calculation, right?
You got it. Gives you a ton of control over your pricing.
That's pretty cool. Now, what about those times when a product only gets a special price if it's part of a bundle?
You mean like a discount on a printer when someone buys a computer?
Exactly.
That's what option pricing is for.
Okay.
You set a price that only applies when that product is in a specific bundle.
It's a way to get people to buy more.
Yeah, it makes those bundles more attractive.
Bundles seem like they can get pretty complicated,
They can.
but CPQ helps you manage all that.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about cost plus markup pricing.
Cost plus markup.
It's a pretty simple way to make sure you're making a profit. You take the cost of the product
Yeah.
and add a markup, either a fixed amount or a percentage.
To get the selling price.
Exactly.
So if it costs me $50 to make a widget and I want a 20% markup,
Okay.
CPQ would calculate a selling price of $60.
You got it. It takes the guesswork out of pricing.
Helps you keep consistent margins across all your products.
And if your costs change, you just update your price rules and you're good to go.
That's a lifesaver, especially with prices changing so much these days.
Right.
But what about those special deals you give to certain customers?
Like, what do you mean?
Like if you have a longtime client who gets a discount on some products.
Oh, you mean like contracted pricing?
Yeah, that's it.
That lets you set up specific pricing agreements for different accounts or even just for certain products.
So I could set it up so every time this customer orders this product, they get a 15% discount.
Exactly. It gives you fine-grained control over your pricing.
And helps you build those strong relationships.
Definitely.
This is pretty impressive.
It is.
Seems like Salesforce CPQ can handle almost any pricing scenario you can think of.
It's really versatile.
But I feel like we've only scratched the surface here.
Oh, yeah. We've just begun.
The world of CPQ discounts is huge.
It is.
Are you ready to go down that rabbit hole?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's talk discounts. Discounts are like the icing on the cake.
Yeah, they can make a good deal even better.
Right. Make it irresistible. But with CPQ, it's not just about like slashing prices randomly.
No, definitely not.
It's more strategic.
It's about using them in a smart way to actually boost your sales and profits.
Exactly. And what's cool is that CPQ gives you so many different discounting options.
Oh, yeah. It's way more than just your basic percentage off deals.
So much more. We've got the usual stuff like volume-based discounts,
Right.
but then there's this option discount thing. What's that all about?
Oh, option discounts. Those are interesting. They're a way to make bundles even more appealing.
Oh.
It's like saying, hey, if you buy this main product, you can get a special discount on this add-on.
Oh, I see. Like add a protection plan for 50% off.
Exactly.
Clever. So it encourages people to go for the bundle.
That's the idea.
And then we've got discount schedules for those classic volume-based discounts.
Right. Those are pretty straightforward. You set up tiers based on quantity ranges.
So like 10% off for 1050 units, 15% off for 51,100 units, and so on.
Exactly. CPQ automatically figures out the right discount based on how much they order.
Okay, that makes sense. But it seems like CPQ goes even deeper with discounts.
It does.
What are these additional partner and distributor discounts all about?
So those are for giving you more flexibility to like tailor your discounts for different situations.
Yeah, hey?
Additional discounts are like manually applied by your sales reps, gives them some wiggle room to adjust pricing if they need to.
To close a deal or something.
Exactly. Or to reward a loyal customer. And then partner and distributor discounts are for those special deals you might have with, well, your partners and distributors.
So it's not just a completely rigid system. There's still room for that human touch.
Oh, for sure. CPQ also has manual price overrides.
What are those?
That's where sales reps can change prices, but only within certain limits. So you've got that balance between automation and flexibility.
Makes sense.
Right.
It's about empowering the sales team, but still keeping things under control.
Exactly.
Okay, good. Now I'm seeing some even more advanced features here.
Like what?
Locking discounts and non-discountable items. This is getting pretty complex.
Yeah, it does get more nuanced. So locking discounts is for making sure that option discounts in a bundle always match the discount on the main product.
Oh, so everything gets the same discount.
Exactly. Keeps
Ah.
things nice and consistent.
That makes sense. And what about non-discountable items?
That's how you protect your profits on certain products. You basically say, hey, this product is off limits for discounts.
So you don't accidentally lose money on those high-margin items.
Right.
Wow, I'm learning so much, just so much to know about CPQ discounts. But there's one more thing here that's confusing me. Controlling the discount order. What's that all about?
Oh, that's for when you have multiple types of discounts that could apply to the same item. You need to tell CPQ which one to calculate first.
Oh,
So for example, you might have a partner discount and an additional discount.
right.
You can use custom fields to decide which discount gets calculated first.
Okay, so it's like a hierarchy of discounts.
In a way, yes. It's about really fine-tuning your discounting strategy.
I'm starting to see how powerful these tools can be.
Oh, absolutely. They can make a huge difference to your bottom line.
It's not just about offering discounts, it's about using them strategically.
Exactly.
Out of all these discounting features, what do you think is the most impactful?
For me, it's the level of control you get with discount schedules. You can really tweak every aspect of them.
Like, it's not just about setting those tiers. You can control how they work across multiple quotes, even multiple orders.
You got it. It's about the big picture.
My head is spinning,
Mm.
but in a good way. So much to think about.
I know, right? It's a lot to take in.
Well, I think we've covered a ton of ground today, from those basic price rules to all those crazy advanced discounting strategies.
We have.
To our listeners, I'll leave you with this. With all these pricing and discounting tools at your fingertips, what's the most creative and effective strategy you can come up with?
That's a great question. There are so many possibilities. The key is to experiment and see what works best for your business.
Exactly, and have fun with it.